My wife and I will be driving, and she'll be like, "Did you put that one on your list?" And it's like, "No, I don't think I did." Welcome to Mr. JobHoppers, where I try to find a reasoning behind what I've done this last 30 years, 75 jobs. Hey, welcome to 1998. This one's going to be a fun one. Anyway, welcome to Mr. JobHoppers, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Don't forget to subscribe and like to my channel if you want to continue on this journey with me. Positives and negatives of everything in between. This one here is, like I said, it's 1998. This is by far, my favorite job of all. This job here, if I was offered this job again right now, I would go do it in a heartbeat. It gave me such positive vibes. Unfortunately, it ends negatively. I'm looking forward to it. So this job here was special because my friend Annie, Delightfully Donut Chicken Connection episode, she worked there, and then she got another job, kitchen, so like to be a cook and stuff. So she got a job at the Museum of Civilization in Hull, Quebec, and she was working there, and she had heard that they were looking for some staff there. Weirdly enough, my mom had started working at the same place as her because guess who? My uncle's there again, and he's running a show at that restaurant, at Le Restaurant des Beaux-Arts. No, that was the other one. Anyway, I forget the name of that restaurant, but that's not where I was working. So I was brought in to be a hot dog vendor on the main steps of the museum. First, I was like a little bit, iffy about it, going like, hot dog vending? Like, what's up with that? But we had come up with such a good system with the kitchen and the relay of the sausages and the hot dogs from the kitchen to the main plaza up at the top outside. It was a bit difficult at first, but we got good systems in place, and it worked out really, really well. Firstly, just want to tell you about the interview process. Something funny happened there. I was interviewed by a chef, the chef of the kitchen, because I guess I'd be working for him under food. Under the food program, if you will. So I was hired by the chef. He takes me aside, a normal interview, which I've done a lot of at this point, and I'm not nervous at all for interviews. I usually end up interviewing the interviewer. I've got it down pat. After so many jobs, you just start to understand what the interview process is, and you can typically get a job fairly easily. At least I can. As much as I've lost 75 jobs, I've had those 75 jobs. So it's like I can get anything I really want if I'm educated enough, which I'm not. But anyhow, so the chef takes me aside, and the only thing I remember really from that is the typical interview stuff. And then at one point, for some reason, he kind of goes, there's a woman here with nice legs, and she's really hot. She's a good-looking lady for her age. Ends up, he was talking about my mom. So that was weird. So he freaked out when I told him that, because not only is that a bit embarrassing, but my uncle, who runs the place, that's her brother, and he was just like, "Oh, so you're the nephew." He didn't know I was the nephew, and so he felt this small, even though he was huge. So I get the job there as a hot dog vendor. I guess a day in the life of that is, this was cool because we had a cool program there that my uncle wanted to make sure everyone was fed properly, so he offered breakfast to all employees in the cafeteria in the morning. I didn't start till about 10 or 11 because nobody eats hot dogs at 8 in the morning, so I would actually get up out of bed and get to work early, something like 8:30. I would get there at 8:30. There was such a great camaraderie between the people there that year that I'm not the only one that has spoken of this connection that we all had there. And if you can get that in your job, if you're able and lucky enough to have that connection, it's like you shouldn't let it go. But like all good things, right? Time just pushes people away. And I remember vividly that people all came to work early. Obviously, the cafeteria girls, Sandra and Milen and Annie and all that, they had to work earlier than me. But I would come in, and there'd be other people like my cousin Billy and other people around, Eric and Danielle, and they'd all be eating, and we'd all talk before the shift starts, and then they would do their own thing. They were popsicle stands, so they would go out and do popsicle bike around the museum. I was the hot dog guy at the top. Just a great summer. Like, we're in Hull, Quebec, which means when you're 18 you can drink, so obviously I must have been 18 then. I was about to go to New Brunswick now. This is where I'm about to go to New Brunswick to university after this summer job here. So I worked there. Unbelievable. We partied. Man, when we partied, we partied. My mom partied with us because she worked there. She was cool. She's always so cool that way. Nothing really bad happened. A day in the life of the hot dog guy is I would start in the kitchen. They would steam the dogs. Would steam them. Then we put them in another steamer kind of tray. And then we'd make our way through the museum, through a passage, up to the top, outside into the plaza. And once I was up in the plaza, I'll be showing pictures as we go here. I believe that I had the most beautiful job placement in the world, or in Canada at least. Wait till you see the pictures I'll put of where I worked, where my office was every day. So I'm outside every day, I'm sun tanning. It's not that busy between 11 and 12. Then all of a sudden buses would show up. Buses from Japan, Chinese bus tour, German bus tour. I could tell who was going to order more, and if some were polite, some weren't. For sure, the Germans, happy people, they come out of the bus. One guy would get out of the bus, spot me, and he'd come running, and he'd order like 40 sausages for everybody. Like, I don't even know if they wanted it, but he just bought it for everybody. He was like, you got the German sausage? And it's just like, yeah. And I cook it all up. We had German, Italian. Man, with German, Italian, honey garlic. Those are awesome. At the end of the day, that season alone, we counted that I sold for $90,000 in hot dogs. So it's impressive, but got to meet people from everywhere in the world. Had a good friend, Bruno, there, who helped me out a lot. We laughed a lot. I remember him greatly, and he's still kind of in my life. We don't see each other as much, but he's with my friend Sandra, who worked there as well. They started dating there, and they're still together today, 20 years later, with a child, and that's an amazing connection. My uncle is no longer there. Nobody's there that I think that I know. Lena maybe, but it was a hell of a crew. Nothing negative to say at this point. So I did my whole first season. Things were rolling well, and I think knowing that I was going to be done in September to leave for university, I think I had no urges to quit. Everything was positive. I worked hard. We worked long hours. Canada Day was insane for this hot dog thing. We're talking 8 o'clock in the morning to, midnight the day up. But it was fun. You know, I felt something there. I felt a connection that I've never ever felt until 2000. No, not even. No. I think that's the job. I think this is the job that I enjoyed the most in my life. The people and the job. Those are pretty much the end of the good times, because when we were done that summer, I think it started from like April to September, and then I had to go to school. Came back during Christmas time that year from university. I think they wanted me to work maybe a shift dishwasher or whatever. I couldn't. I had a huge mouth infection, and I couldn't do anything. And so I hadn't seen anyone until the year after, and then my uncle, who was running there, was no longer there. He had been moved out to some other location doing something else, so they brought a new guy in. Things were different, you know. I had to fight for that hot dog job again. I had to call him and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I worked there last year, and wondering if you're going to bring back the hot dogs. They were great, you know, $90,000 in sales. Trying to make this guy go like, whoa, like that was a great idea. But I'm sure he would have found out that we did that, but might have hired someone else. So I called and I got the job. He's like, sure, come in, meet me. So I came in, we explained what was going on. He had hired a food and beverage plaza manager that I already knew from the past. He was a friend of my Uncle Larry, so it was good to have Mike there. Mike was a familiar face. A few people from the year before had left. You could already tell things were a little bit different. New people coming in. Things weren't the same, but there was still a good bunch of people around. You know, my good friend Sandra, and I believe Milen was still there. I'm not sure Bruno was there that year. I'm not sure he came back, but then they started shipping me around, so you'll see. So I was still a hot dog vendor, so I created that job for me again, because I'm not sure he would have done it. And as we went here, then Mike left as a food and beverage manager, and he had left right around Canada Day. So for a couple months, I had been the hot dog guy up there in the plaza. Again, plaza is the open space up at the front of the museum. Amazingly, I was promoted to the food and beverage plaza manager. Biggest deal I've ever had in my life. So I was in charge of alcohol for events, shipping, you know, receiving, inventory, cash. All of a sudden now somebody took over my hot dog job, and then we had a museum on the other side of the river, which is literally like 5-10 minutes across, that we had. So I had to take care of that, go back and forth across the bridge, and just pretty much take care of all food and beverage. Loved it. I actually felt like I had meaning in my life. I felt like I had, it was just something. I worked hard from June, the middle of June, all the way to the long weekend in August, I believe, late August. Yeah, the 2-4 weekend. I was working my ass off. No breaks. I'm telling you, 7 days a week. It had to be. Maybe the Monday off, but typically it was all the time. It's a tourist industry, and it's just always ongoing. Problems became more problematic with people trying to bring the union in. The year before they had tried to bring it in, and now they were. I think they succeeded. There was, I think, a union there at the time. Things were weird. Things were different. Of course, I was considering at this point going into I believe my second year of university, so I wasn't planning on sticking around. So what happens is about 3 weeks before the August 2-4 weekend, I mentioned to him that I'd been working quite hard and I'd like to have that weekend off, the long weekend. He said, sure, no problem, just let me know in a couple of weeks. So a couple of weeks goes by, or maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. I go, about that long weekend, is it cool? He's like, you know what? He's like, something might have came up, but yeah, you know what? I think I'll be able to do it. So just give me a couple more days. I'll try to figure out. It is a big weekend that weekend when you're gone. And I'm like, I understand that, but like I've got things under control. I make sure my staff's there. Everything's good. They're a solid staff. They're not this staff where they're wishy-washy and you don't know if they'll ever be there or not. So I was, I had pre-planned and hoped really to get those days off to take a break. It was long, it was long and hard, different. It was a new job for me, new stresses that I wasn't, and I'm not very good at stress. So anyway, as you can tell, so it became a week before now, and I'm asking. He's not answering me. He's not giving me an answer. So I kind of know that that's a no, probably. So Wednesday before the long weekend comes in, I ask him again. I'm like, this is the last time. Do I have the weekend off for the long weekend? And he's like, no, you don't. I left that pissed off because he could have told me that a month ago. He kind of told me 2-3 weeks after that. He kind of told me again, but he never said yes or no. He never said yes or no till like a day and a half before that weekend. So what do you think I do? Yeah, you guys are not on Mr. JobHoppers because of positive shit. Yeah, so I quit. You know what I did? I left at 4:30 that day. He left before me. He was leaving a couple of minutes before this part talked. He said, no, you can't go. I left. I went to do my job. He left around 3:15, something like that. I was finishing around 4:30. So I took my pass off. I put it on his desk. I went out. I called my buddy Chuck. Chuck called his mom. His mom was in desperate need. I knew that. I knew that she was in need of a worker. Pretty ASAP. I called her after. He told me to call her. I called her. This is all at work. I'm doing this between 3:15 and 4:30. She calls me back. She says, I need somebody so bad. I said, unfortunately, I can't this weekend. I have plans. She said, that's no problem. I need you to start next Monday night. It's an overnight shift. Perfect. Wrote, I do have the weekend off. Goodbye and thank you. And that's how I left that job. Not the right way to do it. But I'm 18 years old and I'm already fed up with management. They screwed me when I was 14. They're not helping me when I'm 18. They're not showing me that it's teamwork. I'm doing the work. There's no team. It's me. I helped myself. Went away on the 3 days. Enjoyed myself. Came back and worked at another job. It was an overnight cleaning job at the Ottawa University. So in conclusion to this job, I said it was the best thing. It was the best thing. It was so good, in fact, that I later on purchased a barbecue and a license, a vending license, and I did hot dogs on the side, and I would still do it today. I thought the interaction between people was amazing. I didn't feel that much stress because we had a good process when there was a long lineup of people. It was a good process and people talking while you're cooking and everything. It's cool. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed mostly though the people, and I missed them greatly. I still talk to them via Facebook at times, and we had some of the greatest parties that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. Maybe this makes me think of stuff a little bit more. Makes me think of trying to keep in touch with friends more, and makes me think maybe I should just do what I love the most. And if that's what it was, hot dog vending, there was good money in it. Unfortunately, the year I bought my hot dog stand, we found a location for it. We had found a garden center which is great. Just another thing I didn't think about is gardens end sometime in May, June. People stop going, you know. And there was rain all the time. So nobody was buying hot dogs. I was a bit of an idiot. But I tried. It's a big part of it. I keep trying, man. I keep trying. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Museum of Civilization hot dog vendor job. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I love the simplicity, the people, the view. The view of the place. It really does do something to your morale. I was super lucky with some of the locations I worked at. So I hope you guys enjoyed Hot Dog Vendor Boy. I regret doing the thing I did because maybe things could have gone better for me. That's, again, one of the major patterns and cycles of this journey, as I'm noticing, is what if? What if I would have continued? Could I have ran the whole show now? You know, could I have done more with my life? The regrets are hard to bear. So, anyway, guys, I hope you're enjoying this, Mr. Job Hoppers. Let's do it, man. Let's continue, and hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Take care and have a great day. On to our next job.